Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, Ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. Hi, this is Damien Marie AtHope, and I am an axiological atheist, which can simply be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. And I'm here with a guest. Could you go ahead and tell us your name and a little bit about you?
Hi, I'm Christopher Card, and I am just an atheist.
Right on.
And I don't think I don't think we need an explanation of what an atheist is, because most people already know.
Right. An atheist means that you lack belief in, the claims of theism.
Yep. Well, I would have to say I outright reject the claims of any sort of theistic deity.
Oh yeah, I definitely would classify myself as a strong atheist in doing that also, yes.
Yep.
That I evaluate the claims that have been offered, and I've read plenty of books about religion to know that, yeah, I don't agree. So, how did you become an atheist, or was that just something you always were?
Nope. I actually became an atheist when I was about 15. What happened was, before I became an atheist, I was deeply into religion. I was super religious. So I asked my preacher what I should do to become a preacher, and he told me to read and understand the Bible. So I read the Bible the first time, and after I read it, I came out with more questions than I actually had answers.
Right.
So I talked to the people in the church about it, and they all gave me the same answers. You need to have faith. We're only human. We can't know what God wants, all that other stuff. So at the time, because I was deeply religious, my cognitive dissonance was still strong, because the first time you read the Bible, your cognitive dissonance, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I just misunderstood it, maybe I just read it. So I read it again, but this time, all the questions I wanted answers for, I wrote them down. Like, the very first question I had is, if God is omniscient, then why did he tell Eve and Adam not to eat the apple, even though he already knew they were going to eat the apple? Yeah, why did he put the apple tree there in the first place if he already knew the serpent was going to be there? Seems pretty counterproductive. And then the flood, I had questions about the flood, gives everyone free will, which ironically is what the Christians claim. He gave everyone free will, although the aspect of free will is nowhere to be found in the Bible.
Yeah.
So he gives everyone free will, but he murdered 99.99% of the population for exercising that freedom.
Yeah, it's terrorism. I mean, it's God by way of terrorism.
It's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm going to give every one of you free will, but if you exercise that free will in a way I don't like, I'm going to kill you for it. How dare you do what you want to do?
So you're not free, because you only can choose what I like.
Exactly. It's like when you argue with a theistic individual on the aspect of free will, and you ask them, it's a pretty simple question, why does God allow evil to happen? And they always tell you, because free will. It's like the number one answer, because free will. But then you say, what about the victim's free will? Does God not infringing on somebody else's free will when they commit evil on somebody else not infringe on the victim's free will?
Also, even if you could agree with their postulations, the thing is what God's claiming to be good, good? That's an axiological question, is the value of something. It judges things. So that would be my question immediately, even if I could agree with everything. Even if for sake of argument, I mean, I don't actually agree, but it's still, you're saying God makes all these laws that then I have to follow, because God says they're not good. How do we know they're not good? Just because God says they're not good? Does God have a standard to know when things are good and not good? I mean, was him doing the flood good or not good? It genocided, the whole earth, supposedly, in the Bible. I mean, killed all plants and animals that lived on the earth, but for a few that supposedly got saved. I mean, it sounds pretty horrific. We don't think of, people that are genocidal maniacs as someone to aspire to, or to worship, or to even, value.
The only people I can think of that aspire to be like Hitler are white supremacists.
Yeah, really. And I don't aspire to be them.
No. But, you can even go further with that question. If God commands it, is it good? And then they will, most of them will say yes. If God commands it, that it's automatically good. Well, in that case, God commands murder, genocide, infanticide, patricide, matricide, slavery, rape. He condones the shit out of slavery. Rape in the Bible is basically, just pay 50 shekels and be on your way. Or just marry the person you raped.
Yeah. What I think is funny is when people go, well, that's the Old Testament. Jesus never did that. And I'm like, okay, tell me which verse Jesus says this part was wrong. Seriously, any part of the Bible you want, tell me which part Jesus is claimed to saying, that part right there, that was something in error. Or, because they always go, well, there's a difference between God's interpretation and man's error. Oh, really? So Jesus pointed those errors out? Oh, he didn't. Okay. Oh, he said they're all okay? Oh, well then you're already screwed. Isn't he also the same God that told everybody to do it? And then he came and looked at the Bible and how it was written at the point, because it was written, as far as the Jewish part, it was written, I think, supposedly when Jesus was born. It is written, I think it's 300 to 400 years before his birth. So it's well established. It's not like some new fad they just finished and somehow Jesus didn't see it. No, any documents that were going around were already well established by the time he shows up. So there's no doctrinal issues. There might have been at the beginning, but a couple hundred years later, nah.
Yeah. And not only that, but I don't remember the exact where it exactly is in the Bible, but I know it's in Matthew's. Jesus himself said, do not think I have come to abolish the old laws.
Yeah, I come to fulfill them.
Exactly.
So yeah, and the biggest thing that they say, well, see, so he moved us past that. Right. So you're saying before, rape, murder, torture, all that was totally acceptable. Jesus had no problem with it. He just said, now we're not going to do that. I mean, is that what you're saying? So it was a time when it was totally fine with God to do all of that, right? Like there's a part in Psalms, I think it says something like, we rejoice at smashing the children's heads against rocks. I mean,
yeah, there is.
But so you like I said, so when I was at first asking, when did you become an atheist? So you at what age or what experience? You said you started reading stuff and it made you at that point an atheist, or was it a little later?
After I read the Bible the first time, because I wanted to be a preacher.
Right.
That's what my preacher told me to do, is read the Bible and understand it. So I did, and I had questions like I like I said. And then, like I said, I had cognitive dissonance, because that's what you have when you're ultra-religious. You don't want to think that what you read could be wrong, because God supposedly wrote it. And yeah, I became an atheist when I was about 15, because, like I said, I read the Bible again. This time I wrote all the questions down, and there was a lot of questions I had. And I presented them to my preacher, to other people inside the church, and they just told me, you need to have, just have faith. Just believe. Just have faith. Which is essentially the same thing as stop questioning things. Yep. It means the same thing. Don't question it. Just believe it. Believe it to be good. Believe it to be true. And that's how I became an atheist.
Right on. So, did you tell anyone when you became an atheist, or did you hide it? Did you have to hide it?
I didn't tell anyone until I was about 17, and the first person I told was my mom, because she wanted me to go to church with her, and I said, you know what? I don't want to go to church. I don't believe in God. And
how did she take it? My mom didn't take it well.
No, my mom was pretty cool with it. Actually, my mom's an atheist now.
My mom's not.
Oh, man. Yeah, she was pretty cool with it.
Yeah, my mom just about disowned me for about...
Oh, Jesus.
But then, didn't talk to me for a month, and then she talked to me again, and then for about a couple minutes, and then hung up, and then didn't talk to me again for about another month. And when I first told her I was an atheist, she like, yeah. It was a rough time.
But my dad, he tried to convert me to Catholicism, and no. My mom was an Episcopalian, but the difference between an Episcopalian and the Episcopalian church and the Catholic church is the Episcopalian church doesn't try to hide child molestation.
So, when did you start being more active and open, about your activism for your atheism or whatever?
Oh, it was after. Well, at first, for years, for many, many years, I would just talk with people. I wouldn't just go up to people and be like, I'm an atheist, want to have a conversation? I'd let them ask me, like, hey, where do you go to church? Oh, I don't go to church, I'm an atheist. And then I'd have a conversation with them from there, I got into Atheist Republic a few years ago, actually. Joined the group there, joined one of the consulates, the consulate in the area where I'm at.
Right.
I, saw the good that they were doing. I saw the good that the atheist community of Austin was doing. I saw the good that the Satanic Temple was doing. I saw the good that the Atheist Alliance International was doing. I saw the good that all these atheist organizations were doing. And I thought to myself, yeah, I might not have as far of a reach as they do. I might not have it might take me a while before I even get to half of the level of reach that they have. But even if I can reach out to a few people at a time, it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Even if you can just reach out to one person, help out just one person, then it makes it all worth it. So that's what I did. I started Secular Atheism Foundation. I did all the paperwork and everything. I did everything myself. Paid the fees I needed to pay to have it registered as a 501c charity, a nonprofit organization. Set up the page. Got a YouTube channel, which only has like one video on it so far, and that's it, because I really don't have a lot of time to do YouTube videos.
Right on.
But eventually I'll start doing more YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think it helps. You can even just go in there and talk about subjects that are relating to the topic. What exactly are the goals of your organization?
Well, my main goal is sort of an international rescue program. Obviously I want to promote atheism in a positive light, to people around the world, make less stigma about atheism,
Yeah.
But my main goal is like an international rescue program where somebody can reach out to our organization and say they're from say somewhere in the Middle East, because that's where most of the people need to be rescued from, like Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, countries like that, where it's mostly Islamic.
Oh yeah, you mean where their life is in danger?
Yeah, where their life is directly in danger, either from other people or their government themselves, because if they don't want to be found out.
Right. Or their family, I can imagine.
Or their family. We can send them resources, to get like a passport or money they can use to somehow get out of the country, without even having to use a passport, because that's what most of them have to do. Because that most of them, they can't just go to a government building and get a passport. They have to pay other people to get them out of the country. And it's not inexpensive to go that route.
Yeah, so that's your main goal. You have other goals for or other projects you're working on?
Well, I just recently started a project called We Are One.
Okay.
And what that is, that's focused on completely eradicating all discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community.
Right on. That would be nice.
That would be awesome, because they're being beaten, chastised, murdered, thrown out of homes. They're being arrested simply for being who they are. They're being executed simply for being who they are. And
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is. They're humans just like you and I are.
Of course. So are you an ally, or are you a member of that group, if you want to acknowledge it or not?
I'm bi.
Okay. I was going to ask, is there a reason that you felt, I think it's an important thing, but is there a reason why you felt the need to take it up and, champion it?
Just because I think it's the right thing to do.
Right on.
That's, I don't think, I don't think there's need any other reason besides that, just because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it is the right thing to do. I agree. What would you say is some goals your group can forward that idea?
Well, right now what I'm doing is I am, basically just promoting posts on my page. But unfortunately, because it's considered a strong social issue on Facebook, I had to prove my identity and have to go through a bunch of hoops and steps just to be able to promote those kinds of social issues on Facebook.
What kind of social issues? That people at LGBTQI have rights?
Yeah, pretty much.
Seriously?
Yeah. I literally I actually tried to promote.
Wow.
My We Are One post, right? I promoted it for $20, just $20, and Facebook said it's denied.
Wow, that's crazy. Seriously.
But people, preachers, internet and evangelical preachers can talk about murdering gay people on a live stream and promote the shit out of that, and nothing happens to them at all. Nothing. Talk about double standards.
Oh, yeah. I had the thing blocked. They kicked me off Facebook for, I think it was a month, for an archaeology. I think, I was like, they're saying that it was, offensive or something, or went against their standards. I'm like going, what are you talking about?
How is that?
Yeah, so to me, sometimes how they do things is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that that people can't trust Facebook to do the right thing. And I think if he's proved anything of himself is that he won't do the right thing. Given a chance to do it, he won't do it.
It's all about the money. That's all.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't care about exactly. They take our information and sell it to other corporations. Mark Zuckerberg himself is worth like $76.4 billion. And he's almost as rich as Bill Gates is, or Warren Buffett, or those other billionaires like that. Although Bill Gates is probably the only true billionaire philanthropist out there. The other ones, I would have to say, just give their money away as a show of virtue signaling.
Yeah, I think that Bill Gates does appear to have more moral compass than the other ones. Certainly. Yeah. Because
hell, even in his will, he's only going to give his kids X amount of money, and that's it. Just enough to live comfortably, obviously, but the rest of it, according to his will, is going to charity.
Yeah. Isn't it Warren Buffett, I think, that takes is like rich as hell, but only takes a small salary or something?
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, because his company, I forget what his net worth is close to $100 billion. I think he's like the third richest person in the world, third or fourth. I can't remember what it is, but he's close to $100 billion. But yeah, he takes just enough to live a comfortable life, and that's it. and the rest of his money goes to charitable causes.
Yeah, I'm a socialist. I really wish everybody could live a comfortable life. I'm really,
Oh yeah, definitely.
it really irritates me to see, some people living on the streets and having to eat practically garbage or having to do things to endanger or hurt themselves just to try to get money. And then other people, they practically just throw money away. I mean, the disparities are disgusting to me, really. Seriously, hate it.
I definitely agree. I would consider myself a capital socialist.
Yeah.
I believe in a capitalist society within a socialist infrastructure, which basically means,
So kind of like a democratic socialism, like
yeah,
Bernie Sanders, because
yeah.
democratic socialism is still capitalism. It's not actual socialism. It's capital. I'm more for actual socialism. But I like anarcho-socialism. I like the not state controlling everything.
I definitely believe that the federal government should have almost no say in what the states do. I think that the role of the federal government should only be reserved to step in when the state can't do it themselves.
Right.
That's the only role. That should be the only role of the federal government. The states should be able to govern themselves. No federal government whatsoever.
To me, what would be nice is ethics is what makes our government, makes our laws, makes our what we say is right and wrong. To me, that should be, not Bibles, not people's opinions. I mean, it should be really, society to me is not consistent often. Like they'll say, you can have sex whatever you want, but then they'll say, oh yeah, but you can't be gay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, people's, it's like everyone has a right. Period. You just full stop. There you go. And the problem is that because everyone has a right, though, then we have to realize we're in public. Everyone's rights are, in a sense, are rubbing up against everybody else's. So we have to try to work together. And to me, the only way we can do that in a responsible way is to do it with ethics. And our government, has little to do with that often. I mean, the fact that they, will give one person, the right to, they look at all the people that are white that have been caught with machine guns and stuff, even after killing sprees. You never see them thrown to the ground, boot to the neck or anything. No, it's always to me, like we just seen, that it's innocent, unarmed, or even if it's a criminal, it's a vulnerable person of color that this is happening to. It's our system to me is drastically wrong, and it's not built on what's just and what's right or what's even fair. I mean,
Exactly.
That's why I'm a revolutionary. I mean, I always have a problem with people that are too revolutionary in the fact that they won't work within the system they're in. I mean, if I'm right now in the system that we're in, then I should try to do the best. And that's why, to me, even though I don't have like a, political party, I would generally vote, towards the Democrats just because they're fighting for more rights and taking care of people. Things I think are the hallmark of a good society. If a good society to me is one that's running its things off of ethics and justice and fairness and respect. And the other thing is that the weakest or most vulnerable of its society are protected. That's a good society. If the weak of you are protected, that's a good society.
And that's exactly what we need. But, I would probably more, but at least 90% of the laws that are written nowadays are written for religious reasons. They're written, they're written to protect corporations.
Right, and not people. Well, or like you said about religions, or religions like in a lot of states, people don't realize there's child abuse laws unless you're religious, and then somehow it becomes magically not child abuse. I mean, I find that to be any religion that would even ask for an exemption for child abuse is seriously cannot even possibly think they have any moral ground to do so.
Shit. Religion is Religion is there is no morality to be found in religion whatsoever. And I truly believe that there is no morality to be found in religion whatsoever.
Well, it's like to me a clock that's broken. They say can be right twice. I don't think that there's nothing in any religion that could be seen as immoral. The problem is it's mixed in to me with pseudo morality, like you're saying, which is dangerous. Because you'll have one thing that says like we shouldn't kill, like thou shalt not kill, right? What a great thing. Yeah, but then it says go kill people that are gay, kill people that are different religion, kill your child if they act up, kill a person if they have sex outside of marriage. I mean, all of a sudden, the first one was an okay rule, don't kill. I can get behind that, but. Then the rest of their the system is then pseudo morality. It's and not reasonable. Just like the whole to me concept of the religion of say Judaism and Christianity especially is that somehow this original sin, that whole concept to me actually is pseudo morality because the story itself violates its own ethical code. Because the story says there's ethics, right? Supposedly God knows. But then he has these beings, right? Adam and Eve, that do not know good and evil. That means they're incapable, guess what, of making moral choices. They don't know what morality is. How can they possibly make an error in morality when you do not know what morality is?
It's kind of like it. It's kind of like an infant.
Yeah, exactly.
Infants have no concept of morality. They have no concept.
Not till 3 months. 3 months after 3 months, there have been studies that show that babies start to know sort of good and bad, but it's usually positional to how it benefits or could hurt them personally. But so it's very, very selfish sort of, but it's still a kind of morality. So, but yes, before that point, there's nothing. Before 3 months, nothing. Nuh-uh.
And according to some of these fundamentalists, evangelicals, whatever you want to call these people, that if you don't accept Jesus into your heart, you will burn for eternity. So basically, what they're saying is, if an infant dies, if an infant is born stillborn, they will burn for eternity, even though they had no concept of a God, they had no concept of the ability to accept Jesus in their heart. They're going to burn for eternity through no fault of their own.
Yeah. And the thing is that there are fanatics that think that, and then the worst thing is it goes into a social construct of the society where then we start hating things supposedly the Bible hates. The Bible hates, gay people. Well, then the society hates gay people. Not because there's any reason to hate gay people. It's just, that's logical. It's just out of that, primitive mindset. And to me, a lot of that probably goes back to, besides homophobia, probably goes back to the fact of people wanting, especially back in those Iron Age and, Bronze Age, or whatever type of cultures, is they want like the clan unity, just like how the Jewish people, they feel that their lineage or whatever follows the female line or whatever. So it's that kind of a tribalistic mentality that I think is what conglomerates these religious ideas together and make them a lot more, virile. To where because at a certain point they become the culture. They're not outside the culture. It's like when people call it a cult. That's a thing that hasn't been culturally accepted yet. Give it a couple hundred years, probably be just fine. In fact, you'll probably be seen as a good person for having that religion.
And hell, if you really think about it, if people actually really thought about it, religion, every single religion on the planet is nothing but a mainstream cult. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a mainstream cult.
Right. Christianity is a cult of Judaism. Judaism is basically a cult of the Canaanites, the Egyptians, and the Mesopotamians. Took maybe a little bit of the Persians too. They don't want to leave anyone. Don't leave a pagan group out.
The Babylonians.
Oh, and the Hittites. Can't forget the Hittites, because some of the stuff from the Ten Commandments that sounds like Hittite treaties. So yeah, it's probably.
The Great Flood.
Yeah, that's definitely Mesopotamian. And then Job, I think, is written.
The Great Flood was actually based on a Babylonian story. I believe it was Babylonian.
Yes.
Story, the Adventures of Gilgamesh.
Yes, correct.
And the
Epic of Gilgamesh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, and that story, there was a great flood that pretty much wiped out everybody on the planet.
But there was a whole bunch of things that really matched the Bible. I mean, it also says after a certain amount of days, or a year, he lets out a bird, and it comes back with the fig, or, I mean, it's a lot of this stuff sounds a lot like the Bible. Because when I was in college, I did a class on it and wrote a thing about the similarities. There's things that are different, but I mean,
most of it.
Yeah, most of it, majority of it. Like the biggest thing, I would say the biggest difference is it sounds like the one in the Bible sounds like a boat. And the one in the Epic of Gilgamesh sounds more like a raft almost, or something. Like a big, gigantic doily or something, like a donut. Or like a square type of a thing. But it's like I think it says it's like 7 levels high or something. Funny. In fact, I've seen an archaeologist make like a raft, but a round one, not like the Noah's Ark, but like what he thinks possibly the Epic of Gilgamesh is talking about. And they actually float it, I think it's near, I don't remember what river. They float it down the Nile or somewhere, or maybe it's India. They floated it down some river. This big old thing built of reeds, and it's like humongous. Yeah. And it's like 6 or 8 feet out of the water, but it's huge. And he got a good way, not the whole way, but he got a good way, and I think it started taking in a little bit of water. But once again, it just shows that, these mythic stories, they could have some little sprinkle of truth, but it's not anywhere close to real. Because even when they said they made it what they said, and we're certainly a lot more technologically advanced than ancient people in some ways. It depends on what they're doing. Obviously,
we'll never build anything as good. Probably never build anything as good as the pyramids.
Well, we could do it. It just would cost a lot of money. So
3,000 years, a little bit over 3,000 years later, and a lot of the pyramids are still standing.
Oh yeah, there's ones at 4,000 something, I think it is.
Yeah, and they're literally, the Great Pyramids of Giza. They were, built during the time of Khufu. I think it was like 3,500 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Well, at least she didn't say it was aliens.
Yeah, the aliens did it.
I'm like, okay, prove to me aliens. Then we'll start talking.
3,500 years later. Think about how heavy these stones are. These limestones are. 3,500 years later, and they've only sunk in the ground by an inch, and that's it. 1 inch. That's how far they sunk. But we build giant skyscrapers. We build these giant skyscrapers that have to be freaking blown apart within a couple hundred years because they sink so far into the ground that they become unstable, so we have to take them down. Buildings big buildings built with modern technology that have to be leveled like maybe a couple hundred years later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's important to build on bedrock, and different kinds of soils are different. So, I mean, and another thing too that's interesting about Egypt is everyone who looks at Egypt now doesn't realize that the Nile has moved a lot, like a whole bunch. There's places that the Egyptians were living and the Nile moved, and then that city had to be like picked up and moved because it just. And so there was a time when the Nile River was way, way closer to the pyramids themselves. So, but the pyramids, are almost on limestone or whatever. So they're on a pretty decent, foundation. They didn't bury them on sand.
Yeah. And they also, the funny thing is, speaking of ancient Egypt, what they would actually do to irrigate their, because, they're obviously they're in the desert, it doesn't rain a whole lot. They would dig channels to divert the Nile around so they can fertilize their soil.
I agree. So, besides the LGBT thing of putting stuff out that you wanted to help, is there anything goals in the future that you would like to do, like a call in center or something if people have?
Yes, actually, there's one of the things I wanted to do is set up a like you were taught, like you said, set up a call-in center so that it'll be completely free of charge.
Right.
Because I don't believe in charging people for them to talk to you about what their problems are. Say like somebody calls.
Oh yeah. Like I told you, I mean, I'm an anti-capitalist, so you don't have to explain to me about doing stuff for free. I'm also a mutualist. I feel like we should be doing all kinds of stuff to help each other. And this is the thing people forget. Just think of the people and the ideas that we could have to change the future, for the better. And people that we're now, letting, clean toilets or have no hope at all. I mean, it's ridiculous. We should be helping everybody get up. We should help everybody to be strong. I mean, we get strong and even if you're not personally the one that, rises and makes a difference, you probably are the support network that were there, even if it was unknown, that supported that person to be able to come and start to make a difference. And, the more of us that makes a difference, the more we can see that, we can do this together.
Exactly. It's like, I wanted to set up, like I said, set up a little call center thing so people can call in, say like somebody who, say like a trans person, for example. The suicide rate of trans people is exponential.
It's sad how high it is. Yes,
it's extremely high, and I think one of the main reasons why it's so high is because they feel like they don't have anybody to actually talk to. Not just talk to, but actually listen to what they have to say.
Right.
Actually just let them, just let them vent, let them listen. Let them vent and you listen. That's what the thing is. That's what the thing I want to set up is, like you don't say anything. You don't offer them any advice whatsoever unless they specifically ask for it. The thing is, what it's going to be is they call in, they just let all their issues out, whatever they have to say, and you just listen. That's what it's going to be. Just listen to them, because because that's what a lot of people, even just suicidal people in general, they just, most of them, not saying this is all the time, but most of them just want somebody to talk to,
Well, some people have, mental health issues, and some people have emotional issues or, stress. There's other reasons. There's a lot of reasons that people could, think of, ending their life. But I think it is important to let people know that they can talk and work through if they want to, continue the life, that if they need help finding, their way back to seeing the value in life.
Yeah. And I think that's an important goal right there, is to just, to basically let them know, hey, we're here if you need to talk.
Right, and a lot of people do need to have someone to just say, I care, what you're going through. That's like this one person said to me, I don't know what to say. And I was like, you just be compassionate. I mean, that's to me, most people in general are looking for safety and comfort in their life. I mean, if you boil down all your stuff, and you can have one of those and not the other, and life doesn't seem as, rich and rewarding, or, as you don't have as great of well-being. So I think it's an important thing.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly, which is why I personally believe that, listening, just a simple act of listening, does more than most people can imagine. I gotta take care of my son real quick.
Yeah, no problem. It's our hour's up anyway, so
Okay.
we'll go ahead and go ahead and tell people where they can find you or your stuff.
All right. Just look up Secular Atheism Foundation on Facebook. I also have a channel on YouTube. Like I said, it's only one video on that so far, and that's it. I do plan on making more videos in the future. Our website is currently being set up right now, but for financial reasons, obviously, it's not its own domain. But that will be set up in the future. And
Right.
yeah, that's pretty much where you can find us.
Right.
You can also follow Secular Atheism Foundation on Twitter as well.
Right on. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope that your foundation does well. And I think that the cause of helping atheists that are in harm's way is a great cause. And I think that helping people that are LGBTQIA plus that have needs and place to talk would be great. And to have support is always a welcome thing, I'm sure. So
And it was
good.
It was also nice talking to you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
I'm an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistory researcher, writer, and I'm looking forward to delving in the history of religion and archaeology and anthropology and prehistory or history in general. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, Ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. This concludes this episode. I thank you for taking time to watch it, and I hope it was interesting as well as informative. I always hope to inspire others to learn and think, so I hope you learn something. And I hit the subscribe button.
Gotta hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. Thank you. Take care.